Hey everyone, my name is Danilo Petrovic.
I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Denis Kudla.
I'm Evgeny Donskoy.
I'm Henry Laaksonen.
I'm Peter Torebko, and you're listening to the Game to Love podcast.
Hey, welcome back, tennis fans. And we have, unfortunately, more bad news for you. It seems we're only bringing you podcasts full of withdrawals. And this time it is the King of Clay. He is withdrawing from Toronto, the National Bank Open, due to a foot injury, JG. And he will not be defending his title this year. Will he be fit for the US Open? That's the big question.
I'm just sick of it, Ben. I'm just so sick of it. It's just so frustrating. I feel sorry for him. He's clearly having issues with the foot. That's why he lost really to Lloyd Harris in the last event. He's not looked the same. Obviously, almost got knocked out to Jack Sock as well recently. I can understand why he's withdrawn. He's definitely injured. He's got an issue with the foot. Is he preserving himself for the US Open? Is it now going to be detrimental to his US Open run, not playing any events? Is he going to play Cincinnati? I'm not even sure. I doubt it, if I'm honest. And I'm even throwing it out there. I'm not sure we're going to see him at the US Open. I think it's just getting to the stage where I just don't have that much belief anymore. And I was only here yesterday saying I'm hoping that we see Rafa, Roger and Djokovic at the US Open. And we're in 24 hours. I'm already so negative about it. But saying all of that, I hope we are to see him there. He's not said he's not going to be playing that. It seems to me, I watched the video of him. I don't know if you saw the video of him sort of announcing it.
No, not yet.
He seems quite upbeat about it and the fact that he's going to be back. So hopefully we see him at the US Open, because if we don't, I'll be really upset. I really will. Wow. I know you've got the statement here, so maybe we can go through that.
Yeah, indeed. I'll take you through that one quickly. This one's been released from the National Bank Open, I believe. And they were just saying the five-time champion in Toronto, Rafael Nadal, was withdrawn from the National Bank Open, presented by Rogers, due to the left foot injury. He had some words to say about it. He said, "I've had this issue for a couple of months, as people know. Of course, it's not a happy situation after all the success that I had here in Canada, not being able to play this year after missing a year. It's a tough one." Yeah, I totally agree with him there. It is sad, like missing a whole year and then finally, this is one he does so well.
It's the worst time, because we've had COVID where we've had all these events cancelled and not being played. Now the events are coming back. The injuries are sort of coming around. And Federer's had it quite fortunate with the fact that he missed the year getting surgery or whatever when there was no tournaments. But you can't really say that because he's struggling with fitness now. But in theory, I was just hoping Rafa had his injuries earlier on, and now he would be fresh, ready to play. But it doesn't work like that, does it? Clearly,
he's had plenty. I think
he's been plagued by him. It's just so unfortunate, Rafa, with injuries. I don't want to get into it because I'm going to sound bitter, but the guy has been robbed of many titles over the last few years, or over the last 20 years, say, and a lot of it has been because of injuries, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's pulled out of so many tournaments and had long spells on the sidelines trying to recover, but he's always come back stronger. But the older you get, you always got to worry. Obviously, we were talking about we were going to be seeing 20 in this US Open. It looks like we're just going to be seeing 20 at the moment. Djokovic looking like, is everybody going to step aside and let me go on to take number 21? Obviously, it won't be as easy as that, but it could well be a weight off his shoulders if there's not the other two there sort of stealing the limelight a little bit from him.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll continue what he was saying. He said it's a tough one, but that's how it is today. I need to go back and try and find a way to be better again. At the end of the day, for me, the most important thing is to enjoy playing tennis. Today, with this pain, I'm not able to enjoy it. And I really don't believe that I have the chance to fight for the things that I really need to fight for. That's a really good point.
It makes sense though. Like, at the end of the day, it's better that he withdraws than watch him struggling, hobbling around and going out and losing to people he shouldn't be losing to. I would much prefer him just rest it all together, skip Cincinnati as well, and just go into the US Open. Probably what Roger Federer's doing as well. These guys are getting older. It is sad, but we've just got to accept it. They've been playing. They've given us so much joy over the years.
Yes.
Now they're coming to the end. They're going to have to pick and choose tournaments wisely. I just need to see them in the US Open this year from selfish reasons. I just need to see it. I can't allow Rafa not to be in the US Open, especially after what happened at Roland Garros with Djokovic beating him in that semi-final. I need him there, and I need some revenge, and I need to see him there. So please do not let me down, Rafa. Make sure you're there.
Well, you got to think the last time he played there, he was the champion there in 2019. He didn't play there last year, and Dominic Thiem managed to grab the title. So in theory, there would have been, well, there still could be, 2 defending champions stepping on court in the US Open, which would be really exciting and gives it another dimension as well, having 2 champions haven't been defeated there since they last played there, which is quite exciting. Dominic Thiem's, well, he's fell off the face of the planet, but he might be coming back. We'll talk about that a bit later on. I'll just finish this one off. He said, I really wanted to play here a lot, but now is the moment to make a decision. And this is unfortunately the decision I've taken, and probably in the next couple of days we're going to know more. Interesting. So he's probably going to be having some tests and whatnot done on this foot, which is plaguing him. We obviously saw against Djokovic was the first real signs we got to see that he was struggling on it properly. Yeah. I think he probably did have it before, but he doesn't ever show it. And Djokovic sort of just brought it out for the public to see, really, and wore him down. So he had to get the wraps cut off, didn't he? All of that. But after that, I don't think there was much point playing on after that.
The big fear for me in a Grand Slam is it's just a big battle of the body, isn't it? Physically, you got 7 matches to win the whole thing, and it's just very intense. It's best of 5. It's tricky. It really is. And Ollie makes a good point. Obviously, he's a big Rafa fan, saying the thing is with chronic foot injury, rest doesn't help. With the pandemic hiatus, his knees were never better, but his foot was in a bad way. Hence his withdrawal from the US Open in 2020. So really, what he's saying is the rest doesn't change too much. And that's what worries me, because if he is to play the US Open, he may get through the first few rounds, and then the pain might start creeping in again. It's like exactly what happened at Roland Garros. He got himself through to the semi-final, playing quite well up in spells. He started the semi-final amazingly. Almost went for a bagel straight off just like the year before, didn't it, against Djokovic? Wasn't able to do it, and then Djokovic grew into it, and the more the match was going on, the foot pain was getting more and more evident, and this is my big fear. If he's to make a deep run into the US Open, I think from the quarters onward, it's probably the foot pain's going to come back again, which makes me think he might play it, he might start off well, but is he going to end well? And ultimately, a champion is the player who ends best, not the one who starts it well.
I agree, and we saw his last hard court Grand Slam. He was in that crazy 5-setter with Stefanos Tsitsipas, where he ended up losing from 2 sets to love up against Tsitsipas. And if he gets drawn into another one of those battles again, and he has it earlier on in the tournament, imagine that, a 5-setter. Imagine if he has a couple of 5-setters early on in the tournament. I think it's going to be game over.
Oh, mate, stop. I actually could cry. I'm actually upset. It's really annoying because it's going to, for me, it's dampened the whole excitement of it as well, because I just don't think he can challenge. I really don't. Let's look at some of the other players you've got. Obviously, Djokovic, the main man, he's the one to beat. Then you're going to have Dominic Thiem coming back. I know we'll talk about at the end. Medvedev, Tsitsipas. A lot of these players, I think they're going to beat Fed. They'll beat Rafa. They'll comfortably beat him on the hard courts. Zverev, I think a lot of these will beat him, and that's because he's not moving the same. Hard courts have never been his thing, but at least give himself a fighting chance. If he's fully fit, I fancy him. He can beat any of them. I really believe that. But if he's not, it's just like he's fighting against the tide. I can't see it happening. And the worst thing is I'm going to have to sit there and watch it happen. I know he's going to probably try and enter the US Open, and I just don't see it going too well. That's why, I don't know, it's just a tough one, man. It's just not a nice situation to be in.
No, I totally. It will be sad to see, because part of his game is the movement. He has such speed, even for somebody who's later in their career. He gets to the net very fast. He gets side to side. and he's a grinder. And you take that part, the movement away from a grinder, they're just more of a stationary target where you can just pick them off the court, and that's just not Rafa, is it? I mean, we're not used to seeing him in those vulnerable states on court where he's restricted in movement.
Yeah, but I don't think he doesn't do that though. What he'll do is he'll just give his all. He'll try his best. He'll just fight through the pain barrier,
but
and it'll just get to a certain point where it's getting worse and worse, where he physically then can't move.
Yeah, that's what I mean, and it's just sad to see when you get to that, like against Djokovic, when he couldn't physically run anymore. It was Djokovic could just push him around the court. And
what we got to see tennis-wise in that is just nothing short of remarkable, incredible. I'll never, ever forget it. For sure, one of the best, well, if not the greatest match I've ever seen. It was amazing because we was covering it on the podcast.
Yeah,
it was just phenomenal. And it is going to be sad when these guys retire. It does feel like we're definitely coming to the end, especially with all these podcasts we keep doing. He's withdrawn, he's out of this event, he's been knocked out early doors. It is worrying. Even Djokovic starting to have a little bit of fitness concerns, but I wouldn't read too much into that. I think it's just because he's played an obscene amount of tennis, and I don't think anyone can do that, and not even Djokovic. He tried it, but it was a bit crazy, and it's sort of all catching up on him. So for him, he's holding out quite well. I wouldn't be too worried about Djokovic coming to an end anytime soon. He's going to be back stronger than ever. The other two, though, not looking good. And there's some interesting information in the chat. I don't know how accurate this is. Let me see if I can find it. It's gone now, but it's from the tennis podcast.
Yeah, I saw that. It's this one.
Can you see it?
Is it this one?
Yeah, there we go. Apparently, their info is Federer retires at Laver Cup.
I can see it happening. I hope it's not true though.
Yeah,
but we'll wait and see. We don't know the extent of his injury, do we? Sorry, we got Ibrahim sent in another message just earlier, just saying, "I love the Djokovic song. Do you think Djokovic can win the US Open?" Well, with all this news, I think it's definitely a possibility. Like, he's going to be licking his lips.
His odds have cut in half, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, his biggest test now, you're probably looking at someone like Medvedev again on the hard courts, or Zverev again. He obviously beat him in the Olympics.
Well, save that fault, because I've got something planned for the end of the podcast about his biggest threat, and you're going to have to hear me out on it, because you're probably going to disagree. But let's just go to the chat as well, because some other interesting points. George, you're saying Nadal's going to drop below number 5. We spoke about this event being a must-win for him. He's not going to win it. He's out of it. So he's going to be dropping, I think it's half points for this still, but it's still annoying. And it means potentially the number 5 is a real possibility, because Zverev, if he goes deep at Cincinnati, which you'd probably expect him to do, then Nadal's going to drop down. So if he does go to enter the US Open, we could even see a quarterfinal against Djokovic, which just makes it even worse for him.
Yeah, that's not nice, is it? Really, really.
But then saying that, trying to turn it on the positive, if he's struggling to get through an event, it maybe would prefer to play Djokovic earlier than later.
Maybe
his foot might be in a bit better state by then.
If possible, yeah. You never know. That might be the last chance saloon of that match, though, and you could probably know it would be dragged into deep water by Djokovic anyway. He'd probably just keep the rallies going for as long as possible, just to get Rafa, ruined after one set. I think, but I think Djokovic just has that mentality. He'll just go hours. And the body always seems to hold up. And I'm not sure what the weather's going to be like over there. Obviously, he's going to be hoping it's going to be less humid than it was over in Japan, because that was a real problem for him. I'll just take that off there for a second. Yeah,
just quickly, the last part of that, we'll just read it out. It's because it's important. It's about the actual replacement. So they're going to have a lucky loser. It's going to be Feliciano Lopez. So he's going to be put into the draw to play Lloyd Harris, I believe.
Yeah. Well,
so he's avoiding him. Maybe he just saw the draw and thought, I'm not playing him again.
Could be.
I can't handle that.
Just got beaten by him. Can he handle? What is it going to tarnish his legacy if he loses 2 matches in a row to the same player, Lloyd Harris, who's like number 50 in the world? Yeah. Could do.
It's going to be good for Lloyd Harris, though, because I think he can beat Feliciano. So that's good for him. Hopefully he can have a little run. Let's see what other people are saying. 12 travel to Nadal's only played 7 events all year. So it's hardly surprising he's dropping down the rankings. Yeah, to be expected. Same with Federer. I think especially when the points go back to normal, which I believe is happening after Cincinnati. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it is Cincinnati. Is
Or
the
at
points
Cincinnati,
change.
yeah. So that's when they're all going back to normal. At the end of the day, we're going to see a more fair reflection after that, and we're going to see how the ranking should be. And Federer is going to drop down massively, and Nadal probably could do as well because he's not playing much and he's not winning much either.
No, it's pretty crazy, isn't it? How things can quickly change around in these rankings, especially with all these points being defended at the moment. Djokovic with 1,000, Nadal with 1,000 here. I think he's only having half of his though. And then you've got the US Open, and obviously we've got that guy who's the defending champion, Dominic Thiem. Will he be there to defend it, JG? That's the question that I pose to you, sir.
Well, you can get the picture up, mate, because it's something I wanted to talk about, and that is some positive news. I felt like I couldn't do this I could not do this podcast without something positive at the end of it. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that's in the shape of Dominic Thiem. He just put this on Instagram with the caption.
I can't see it at the bottom. I'll get rid of the banner for a sec.
Swapping the splint for my racket. So obviously we've seen he's had an issue with his wrist. It was very painful. I've got the actual diagnostic here. He had a detachment of the posterior sheath of the ulnar side of the right wrist. So it doesn't sound great.
Sounds horrible.
And it's been a very long road to recover. I think it's been several weeks now. A lot of physiotherapy, trying to regain some mobility back into the wrist and some muscle strength. It's been a long road for him. It's been disappointing because he's been the sort of breath of fresh air, really. Aside from the big three, he's the man who we've all turned to as the sort of the savior for the sport, because he can pull off some incredible results. On his day, he can beat every player on tour. I still stand by that. And could he be back now for the US Open? He's got his racket back there. I'm sure he's going to be back in training. Going to take it slow. You'd expect him to be back for the US Open, and if he is, I think he could be a real dark horse because he's won it last time round. Could he be the man to stop Djokovic? He's probably the most likely right now.
We never know, do you? Because Medvedev, he is susceptible to losing the odd match here and there. He had a bit of a close one today, actually. He went to 3 with Bublik. So I'm not that convinced by that result. Obviously, the last time they played in a Grand Slam, Dominic Thiem, that was at the US Open last year, he beat him in straight sets. So that's a signal of intent. If he's able to rekindle that form from the last US Open, he has a chance. But it's a very big ask.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people dismissing him, saying no chance this, no chance that. I think the problem is with fans, and this is across all sports, they're a bit fickle. And they remember there's a lot of recency bias going into things. And I understand he's injured, and I understand it takes him some time to get back into it. But you need to remember, Dominic Thiem, prior to the injury, was arguably the fittest man on tour. He played more than any other player. He was breaking records for playing the most matches in a calendar year. He was an absolute beast. In his off time, he used to play with friends. He loves tennis. He trains like an absolute beast. Who's it we had on the podcast who was saying he was doing smashes for like 4 hours?
Oh,
Marchenko, I think.
Was it Marchenko? Possibly, yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
And everyone respects him for his hard work in the gym and what he can do. If anyone can get back quickly, I think it's him. He's not that old. He's not had many injuries in the past. I can recollect at all. So who's to say he can't just bounce back? He's definitely got a lot of natural tennis ability, and I would not write off Dominic Thiem. Do it at your own peril.
I totally agree. He was a breath of fresh air before the injury. It just was sad that everybody was trying to work out why he was suddenly falling off and not winning any matches, and looked like he was really struggling on court before that. He pulled out of all those tournaments. He didn't look himself at all. His head was down the whole time on court. He was wearing the cap all the time, which was unusual. Didn't normally see him wearing that. Yeah. And it just seemed like he was trying to hide a little bit. It's just like he didn't want to really be there. He was there, but it wasn't the real Dominic Thiem. And if he's back to full fitness, he's one who can challenge with all the top players as on all the surfaces. And arguably hard court was becoming his thing and becoming his better surface. So obviously he's missed the clay court swing, but hopefully he's been practicing on hard, and we'll get to see him. I'm guessing he's not going to be in Cincinnati, is he?
Maybe. I'm not sure. It's a good point. In fact, I would like to see him there a little bit before. I give him some preparation. He obviously didn't do very well the year before. Lost against Krajinovic in the first round, I think. So he's got some points he can gain. There's no harm in going there if he feels fit enough. The last thing I really wanted to say before we wrap this up is I think now, as a next-gen player, not even next-gen, just anyone who's not the big three, they need to be looking at this situation on tour, and they need to grab it, and they need to go, you know what, I'm going to make my name for myself. I'm going to be winning some big events, and this is my time to shine. This is my time to be a star. Because you look at Djokovic, he's had a bit of a shaky ending in the Olympics recently. Didn't go well for him. Had some injury concerns. Federer, we don't have to talk too much about him. He's not hit form, since he's been back, really. He had a few spells here and there, but not much. And Nadal, foot injuries, struggling with his serving. It's not the same big three. It certainly isn't. Djokovic, you could say, is the most normal. He's just had a bad Olympics. But look at the other guys. Come on, this is Medvedev, Tsitsipas. What's Tsitsipas doing? He should be absolutely reveling in this. And do you know the man who we don't talk about enough? Zverev. He's just beaten Djokovic on the hard courts in the Olympics. Who's to say he should have the confidence to win the US Open? He got to the final last year, and he should really have a lot of self-belief to go far. And let's go a bit more crazier. Let's look at some of the young players coming through, like a Sinner, like a Brooksby, like some of these other ones. Maybe Brooksby a bit soon, but Sinner's been here for a while. He just won an event. He needs to be looking at this now, and he's had mental barriers against the big three playing them. He's never going to get a better shot to beat them right now. They're not in good. They're not in a good state of form. I would fancy a Yannick Sinner against Federer early, and he needs to rise to the occasion and not be overawed by it. And there's a lot of young players I can say the same thing about. This upcoming events, especially the US Open, it's an opportunity for a young player to do something which not many people do and write themselves in history. A bit like a Del Potro, become a legend. Let's see who can do it. I think it's definitely possible.
I think it's possible as well. I even think there's other players out there who could step up to the mark as well. We saw in the Olympics, the final was Khachanov versus Zverev. Khachanov suddenly made a little resurgence at the moment. I'm not sure he could win it, but that's another player who could potentially go deep in the US Open if they get a favourable draw. He'll be fancying himself. He did well at Wimbledon. He did well at the Olympics. Why not?
Tsitsipas Buster? Tsitsipas, stop the attitude, stop the sulking, stop the problems with the on-court coaching. Focus, get this job done, and let's see what you can do as well. Because he's an incredible player. Hurkacz, good shout in the chat. There's a lot of these guys. I want to see them hungry. I don't want to see too much respect to the big three given. I want to see a bit more of a fighting spirit from them, and hopefully we can get that because it's open. And if they really believe in themselves, because a lot of the time it's not been because of ability they've been losing. They've been losing to these big three players because ultimately they don't have the mental side. I don't want to see that anymore. This is the time.
See, you disregarded me saying Carreño Buster twice there and didn't go along with it.
I'm not going along with Buster, no. But he's a good player. He is a good player for sure.
Yeah, he definitely is. Well, look, he got to the semi-final. He was 2-0 up against Zverev in last year's semi-final, and he beat Djokovic in the bronze medal match as well. So he's going to have some confidence coming into the US Open as well. There's going to be some other players as well. The big servers, they'll be there. That's in America as well. Don't ever rule them out. There's obviously the young Americans.
Korda.
The young Americans. This is Tommy Paul, Korda, Brooksby, Nakashima. I'm sure he'll be in there as well. Keep your eye out for all of those guys. It's an exciting time for. And what about Mackenzie McDonald? Obviously lost today to Benoit Paire, but just played a whole tournament. So I think it was always possible, to be honest.
Liam there saying John Isner, surely not. It's F1 lovers' time to shine. Isner could make a charge. Never too late for him. I just want to address something else, really off the topic of tennis, and that is PSG. We've had a lot of people asking us about it, and apologies for not answering. we'll just do a little bit now. Michael saying, can PSG win the Champions League? This is in light of obviously the record signing. Well, I say record signing, it was free, but in terms of wages and everything else, it is a monster signing. I don't think we've ever seen the signing gain this much attention. I know it's Messi going to PSG from Barcelona on a free. The shirt
Free
sold
as well.
out. They sold out in the UK. They was listed at 10 p.m. and they sold out at 10 p.m. So you can't get a shirt with Messi's name on it. It is pretty amazing. They've got an attack now. Neymar, Messi, Mbappe. I think they will win the Champions League. I know you're not too keen and you don't want it to happen.
I don't really.
I think you're a bit more of a traditionalist.
I just don't like him going to France, mate, to be honest. I just thought that he would have a little bit more, he'd want a bit more of a challenge. Come to the Premier League. Come on. Go a rainy Tuesday night away at Stoke. That's where you want to be going. Obviously, I don't think Stoke are even in the Premier League anymore, but it doesn't matter. But that's what I mean. That sort of mentality. Go up against the big crunching defenders, the players that someone like his size might struggle in the Premier League, and that's probably why. Like you saw Di Maria.
I'm not buying it, man.
Di Maria, you saw what happened to him in the Premier League.
Do not compare Di Maria to Lionel Messi. You're an absolute disgrace. Lionel Messi would rip it up in the Premier League. I'm just disappointed we don't get to ever see it because I think he's signed it away now as not a possibility. He'll probably be at PSG for the 2 years of his term and then probably go on to United States of America or something like that. Play in the MLS.
In all fairness, I would rather him go to PSG than go to Man City, though.
Yeah, but part of me just wanted to see him in the Premier League.
Yeah, I would have been.
Shout out to Sam as well, because I know she likes Barcelona, and I do like Barcelona as well, Messi, and it is a bit sad to see that all coming to an end. I know he was quite emotional in his speech, but yeah, we'll have to wrap it up there. If you want to know more about me and Ben talking about Barcelona and Lionel Messi and PSG, head over to our Patreon because we do talk about anything in there. If you want to talk to us about it, we can jump in the live chat. There's a voice channel in there too, so join that for more content. But for the tennis fans who are watching this, we'll have to leave it there. I know not everyone likes it.
I bet there's a few people who've switched off already.
Yeah. I think we'll wrap it up though. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe if you're new. Rafa's not going to be here in Toronto. Didn't even get to see a match. He's not defending the title. Hopefully he's back for the US Open. And please, just fix that foot because I can't bear it if he's not there.
Yeah, indeed. Agreed. Right. See you later on in the week.
Yeah, see you guys.